is the Big O Show. This 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 is the Big O Show.
You know, I tell you guys all the time about Cutter's Edge Pro, man, and what they did with our backyard and made it a pure oasis. That's our Sylvester tree right there on a beautiful day, providing a ton of sunshine. We've got one exactly like this out in the front yard, and it is absolutely gorgeous. There's Bono hanging around on the artificial turf. What's up, Bono? What's the word, baby? There you go, wagging that little tail. Maiden, there she is. Ziggy. How you doing, Ziggy? There you go. So we got the doggies hanging out. So just want to give you a little, we got some of the trees starting off from this way with the artificial turf. You see, there's Ziggy again, of course. Got it all the way. And look, we got some flowers coming out. That tree now will start to also spring, and it's absolutely beautiful too. So got all that. They can do all kinds of things for you in your backyard to kind of make it an oasis, which is what we've done. And obviously the dogs can play. What's up, Bono? I got him there hanging out. Maiden, there she is. There she is, the one and only. She's mean as a skunk, by the way. Just want you to know. She's awesome with us, but I mean, if you're a stranger, you don't want to meet mated. So as you can see, and then the artificial turf, remember, there's no watering. There's no cutting the grass. It looks fabulous like this the entire time. You know what I'm saying? It's beautiful. Back here in this corner is where we put the barbecue. I wheel it out, cook, then I wheel it back in. See, looks beautiful, doesn't it? Flowers are coming out. It's awesome. And then when I want to play a little golf, there's my putting green down the side, which is a beautiful thing. There's one of the holes all the way to the other side where Bono is at. All lights up. It's really beautiful when it lights up. See, we got the rough. Got several. Got one on that side. Got one over there in the corner where Bono's leaving. Got rough all over the place, man. Just in case, you get the ball trapped in there. That's it. That's another swing. Right, Maiden? So, check it out, cuttersedgepro.com. Make your home an oasis. Make your business, your HOA complex, condominium, you name it, they got you, bro. They do it all. All right? Then cut your trees down, and the artificial turf, I swear by it. Really easy to maintain, and it looks just absolutely freaking beautiful. Cutter's Edge Pro. Right, Ziggy?
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646.
Oh, great. You have a doorbell camera. Now you have a front row seat to your house getting robbed.
They're breaking into my house!
Ooh, there goes the TV. I'm sure it'll turn up at the pawn shop.
No, not the TV!
Just because you can see them, that doesn't mean you can stop them. With Slogans, you get 24-hour monitoring, a free home security system, and professional installation. Plus, free doorbell camera, one that'll actually work for you.
Get out of my house! Get out of the house!
Call 1-800-ALARM-ME.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Oh, Lordy, look out, look out, look out. Show number 2 today. And we got ourselves a little breaking news. Wow. Vic Fangio has stepped down. Now, is it really a shocker? I don't know. I'm not sure if it was really a shocker. We kind of talked a little bit about it on the show with Vic, and this is one. Was it a fit? And you're now listening to the national people talk a little bit about, was it a fit? And this is why it was a thing, actually. And remember, last week I told you that they were finishing up the players and that this week they would do the coaches. So the big names came in, and obviously they finished up with the players last week. This week was all the coaches, and here goes the bomb that is dropped. And for those of you, obviously, that are tuning in, you have heard that Vic Fangio has left. And I know most of you are going, yeah, I know. He's probably going to Philadelphia and all that, and that's what they're talking about already. Here's the statement from Mike McDaniel. I want to thank Vic for his contributions in 2023. When we assess the season, it became apparent that this was the best path forward for all parties involved. Now we turn our focus to 2024 and beyond. I'll do it the other way. With urgency as we identify the best candidate to lead our defense moving forward. We remain steadfastly committed to development of our players and to building a winning team and sustained success. So think about if they actually made the statement accurately, how he delivers it. That's we figured it out today on the show. This is why they're late with all the play calls, because he's telling Tua, hey, red right 47 dash 46 lobster. Wow, I had some lobster the other day. It was fantastic. Oh, lobster right 7-2. All right, coach. And he's got like 2 seconds left on the clock. So that's kind of what happens if you really had to translate everything with McDaniel, overall. Anyway, there's so many ways I can go with this. Okay. And there's a lot of things that we can talk about. And one of the things we talked about at the end of the season was the fit. And was it the two personalities, polar opposite, completely polar opposite? Things didn't go well. And he got to see a little bit of the unorganized offense, unorganized coach on offense. And he's also looking at it. I'm gonna just sit back and put you in the Vic Fangio seat. And so he's watching a young coach that is struggling. And as we have documented for 2 straight years, Josh Boyer was not the problem. It was more Mike McDaniel last year. And this year, it was more Mike McDaniel than Vic Fangio. Okay? So it's the offense that has failed constantly. So Fangio kind of sees the offense, right? Then he sees how everything ended. Obviously, he didn't do well in the Tennessee game. One of the reasons why you didn't win the division and your season was you could have rested some people. You might have not lost AVG. All kinds of crap could have happened good for the Dolphins. You know that Jalen Phillips and Chubb are out. You're not going to have them next year at the beginning of the year. And breaking news for some of you Dolphin fans out there that maybe don't realize it, because these are just, they are superhuman compared to you and me, but they are human in the sense that I want to remind you that when Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb come back, they will not be themselves. They can tell you they feel good. They can tell you, oh, I'm back and this and that. They will not be themselves because 99% of the time, it's just normal. When you come back, you're kind of getting your feet wet again. You're kind of becoming that player again. And then the following year where your knee really is solid, that's when really the confidence flows and you really get the player back if he's ever going to be a player again. Okay? So you won't even see the real Jalen Phillips next year for whatever short amount of games that you do see him or Bradley Chubb. And Vic knows that. And Vic knows that he has family in Philadelphia. And Vic knows that Philadelphia wanted him. And Vic feels like Philadelphia's a lot closer to actually succeeding overall than Miami. That's probably what he's looking at. And so in the end, you could talk about not a good fit. Probably wasn't a good fit. It wasn't like he did a phenomenal job, but he wasn't the problem, overall, I got to say. So when we look at the situation, I kind of understand what's going on. And one of the things we did talk about, I don't know if it was the post-game show for the final game or it was the following Monday after the game, but we talked about how the Fangio fit may not be good for him. And he may be selfishly saying, what the hell do I want to come back to this for? This guy's a young coach. He might be fired next year. If he doesn't get his shit together, he's going to get fired. And then I'm looking for another job next year. I'm missing my 2 best pass rushers next year. What am I supposed to be, a magician next year also? You think about it, right? And if you're Vic Fangio, selfishly, he doesn't give a shit about the Dolphins. He gives a shit about Vic Fangio and do what's best for Vic Fangio. So we can see why this probably wasn't a good fit for the old man and the young guy. 2, if you put yourself in Fangio's position, he starts looking around going, I'm going to get paid wherever I go. The $4 million I leave here, I'm going to go pick it up over there or over here or over here. So what the hell do I care? The money doesn't matter. Like it's Jim Harbaugh. Doesn't matter where you're going. You're going to pay him. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter. You're going to pay. The money will be there no matter what. Same thing here. So money's not the thing. The rest is, I'd rather coach that defense. I'm closer to my family. I'm getting towards the end. I get it, dude. I totally get it. Now, it sucks. Now, we talked about the Fangio side of it, right? And you can have whatever animosity you want towards Fangio, or you can understand, or maybe you don't care, or maybe you're happy that he's gone. Whatever it is. So now we got to go to level 2 now of all of this. One of the pluses that we talked about with Mike McDaniel, right? Because we love his personality and all that kind of stuff, but we're starting to peel the banana, overall, right? So now you got to build your staff. And so the Fangio thing was always there and it happened. Now it failed. So now you're a coach that, you got a talented team and you've made the playoffs the last 2 years, but you haven't done anything. You've kind of failed down the stretch of both years. You have floundered and kind of technically backed into the playoffs, basically. You know what I'm saying? You just backed in on a level higher this year than you did last year. Let's just put it that way. Just slightly, overall is what you did. So you got to still prove to the NFL that you belong. Do you belong, Mike McDaniel? So does Vic Fangio, who's already set, does he want to go somewhere where it's a little bit more settled and he knows they're going to have a job 2-3 years from now, which is maybe what he has left in his career and he just wants to finish it out and he doesn't want to deal with this bullshit and this drama? So he moves. So for Mike McDaniel now, the inconsistencies and the constant unorganization of his offense, now we start seeing the rest now. Okay, so you can't find a special teams coordinator, so you're stuck with a bad one for the last 2 years? Are you going to be stuck with a bad one for 3 years? Now at defensive coordinator, you fired Josh Boyer. I know some of you guys didn't like him, but considering what he had and all the injuries that he had, I thought Josh Boyer did an all right job, and I thought it was more Mike McDaniel's fault than it is Josh Boyer's fault. He was doing fine in that Buffalo game. It was Mike McDaniel didn't know what freaking down it was and ruins that. So he did all right throughout the year. He kept doing every game pretty much. The Jets game, you lost your quarterback on the first down. I mean, what are you going to do then? It's over. You lost your backup quarterback. You went to your third stringer at that point. No one's going to win there. But overall, so now you're Mike McDaniel and you've got to build a coaching staff. Now, let's talk about that. One, not a good look for you, Mike McDaniel, that a proven coach like Vic Fangio comes in and leaves in a year. Whether you like Vic Fangio or not, whether you think he did a good job or not, it's still not a good look. You have 2 different defensive coordinators. You're going for 3 now in 3 years. Not a good look. I was very critical of that with Brian Flores. I'll be same thing with, of course, Mike McDaniel on this. Now, here's the catch-22. Now, people are saying, oh, well, you go hire Brandon Staley. Well, Brandon Staley now is going to be wanted to do what he knows what to do, which is run a defense. He's not a head coach by no stretch, but he's a good defensive coordinator. Now, if you're Brandon Staley, you're one of the best defensive coordinators that's available. Do you want to come here to Mike McDaniel? Are you sure he's going to have a long-term job? Or do you look for other options? Money's all the same. That you say, more stability. I could go here where I know this coach just started and he's going to be there for at least 3 to 4 years. I don't know if Mike's going to survive after year 3. Right? So now you go to Campanelli. So now you go back to the unproven. Well, we love him in Hard Knocks and he can cuss like a sailor and all that good stuff. You still don't know if he can run a defense. You still don't know if he's going to be great or you're going to start ripping him like you did Josh Boyer. So it just becomes a difficult situation and one that we constantly find ourselves in as Dolphins fans, because you get to the coach and then the coach the first couple of years trips himself up and doesn't cross these thresholds. Mike McDaniel has been given more than any other coach prior to him. And at times he's done less with the most that he's been given. And that's not a good thing. And so we're now in the same cycle that we've been, that it's the unproven coach that hasn't crossed that threshold, that now has to hire coaches. But then those coaches have to weigh their options and say, you know, Mike, I like you and you've had some success, but not enough to really for a long term. And I don't know if you're going to be there past year 3. I don't know if you'll make it through year 4. I can go over here for a 4-year contract. Let me go there for sure. I get it. I may get a 4-year contract here and I only work 1 or 2, but then I'm still moving my family again, which is the stuff you and I never really talk about enough, because we never give a shit about these people's families ever. And my God, assistant coaches that bounce around. Oh man, you saw it in that quarterbacks show where Mariota and his wife, how, you know, she's like used to it. Like she knows the routine when she moves from city to city to city to city. And that's not easy, dude. And if you have kids and all that, that's brutal, man. Brutal on any family. So now we're in that same kind of rut of how do we replace this guy? Okay, now what are your credentials, coach? Okay, so how are you going to attract the best coaches when some may not feel you have the best footing? Yeah. This has been the story of our lives for 25 years plus now. This is what we go through as Dolphin fans on a consistent basis. We get excited with the coach, but then the warts start to show. And then we start to doubt, and then doubt leads to complete, lack of total confidence in that person. And we want to just get rid of them. And we're not there yet with McDaniel. I'm certainly not there yet, but I am telling you, we're at the crossroad. We're at the crossroad because I've seen this a whole bunch of times. I've lived it over and over and over and over again. And if next year he does some of the same stuff, you will want him fired, because you'll go, the team is close enough and he doesn't get them over the top. And at the end of the, and I love how they try to make it about one player, because obviously the quarterback is going to get all, but all this shit that's been happening here has been going on for 25 years. It's just different faces in and out. It's just, human Django is what we play, unfortunately. But this team is good. Needs to get healthy, but it is good. Okay? Alarmo's even disappointed. So it needs better leadership right now. That's what it needs, unfortunately. And so I don't know. This is going to be the most interesting offseason for Mike McDaniel. He may need to go to a darkness retreat on his own. I think he needs to put in a call to Aaron Rodgers. And where's that darkness retreat? And he needs to maybe, because you got to change the way you are with your players to a certain extent. You can't be buddy-buddy with them. Your loosey-goosey ways, that's why your team is loosey-goosey. That's why your team has no discipline whatsoever. That's why your team constantly screws up. That's why your best players have zero pressure on themselves to be perfect when they need to be as perfect as possible. That's how you win, when your best are at their best. But Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are constantly dropping footballs. And now Tua got into it this year with some terrible habits of making bad decisions and forcing the football into places that he has no business to force it into. You refuse to use the tight end. You can't find. And this whole thing, they didn't have a third option because the coach felt like it. We have to stop with this shit and start blaming the players when it's not the players' fault if you're not scheming for them. And if they're constantly running routes to empty spaces because everybody's throwing to Tyreek and Waddle, and they're double and triple covered, so it means they got to be open. And you've got, the little mad scientists on the sidelines drawing the plays and then feeding it to the quarterback, and then the quarterback is such a good human being that he doesn't tell the head coach, yo, F you, dude, we got to mix this thing up. And, and Tua's going to need to, get a little more edge to him. We've seen grumpy Tua and all that. We need to see takeover Tua. Okay? Tua needs to take over the offense because they're going to blame him. He gets all the blame when it's not really his fault. His offensive line, well, everything that they did, they had the worst pass rate in the NFL. The worst block rate. It was like horrible. 31st, I think it was. And with that lack of time, he still did what he did. When a lot of quarterbacks would have been on the floor and wouldn't have been able to figure stuff out and would have never been able to throw stuff on time because they don't have the time. So things have to change. You have to run more. You have to. You need to. Mike McDaniel needs to grow up, and he needs to make defenses more humble. And they're not humble. And he can run the ball, but he's got to get better. And they're going to have to go after offensive linemen this year. Besides re-signing Connor and Hunt, that has to be a priority. You're probably going to have to add another lineman. That's for sure. And you're going to have to add a D lineman. And the worst part about it is the owners cost you a third. You don't have a fourth. So now you don't pick again till the fifth. It'll get interesting. But Mike McDaniel has to go through somewhat of a personality change. How will his team handle that? Or how does he go through the personality change, maybe without having to try to change who you are, but still demand more from your team because you're not getting it? So if you can't keep coaches, you can't maintain drives, you can't keep discipline on your football team, your best players don't show up week in and week out, they constantly drop footballs and make mistakes in big moments, you can't be a head coach in this league. And I've told you over and over again, and I'm going to stick to it. This is the best roster they've had in 30 years. He has to do a more responsible job with this roster. That's what's going on here. This is an indictment on Mike McDaniel and no one else. The entire season has been an indictment on Mike McDaniel, the guy that lied to Raheem Mostert last year. Because in the most important game, Raheem Mostert was dominating on a drive, and it was 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1. And he told Raheem Mostert, what? No, I didn't say that. And he just went to the pass game. And so if he's not going to keep his word, and then you can't trust him. You know what I mean? You just can't tell me you're going to do something. I don't want to hear it at all this offseason about, I self-reflected and I looked over the film and I failed to do this. I don't want to hear any of that shit anymore. Just go do it now. Go do whatever you need to do, but go get a tight end, implement a short passing game, get other players involved. We know that Tyreek and Waddle are your main pieces, but everyone else must get involved. They bring too much attention to not open it up to others. And you need to be a better coach to make sure you get those guys open, because the River Craycrafts were open the year before. And the Trent Sherfields were open, and, and by the way, I've learned that Trent Sherfield has a tendency of dropping footballs. Like, he did it for the Dolphins and he did it for the Bills this year too. It's a tendency of dropping some big footballs there. Like he did one against the Bills last year. So these things have to change for Mike McDaniel. Okay, they better change in a big time way. By the way, we do want to remind you, Welt and Rayom is a proud sponsor of our program, 954-966-4646. They've got an office in Hollywood. They've got an office in the Keys. Really excited. They're about to open a new office. Bankruptcy, homeowner property damage, condo damage, criminal defense, business owner claims, commercial litigation, personal injury. Jeff Welt, Daniel Rayom, they are absolutely awesome. Folks, do not trust these insurance companies. Or if you think you have a case, something happened a week ago, a month ago, a year ago, and the consultation is completely free. You pick up the phone, 954-966-4646. Call Jeff Welt and tell him that Big O sent you. They will take care of you. Welt and Rayom. All right. Let me see. Remember, Cash App or Venmo if you want to send in your questions, comments, insults, all that stuff at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo. And, of course, you can send in a Bitcoin donation with your question, comment, insult, whatever it is that you want to do. Brad Means, thank you for the love in the super chat. This is an indictment on Mike and Greer's decisions. Well, I would go more. Greer is going to look bad if Mike fails. The Fangio stuff, it's on Mike. It's not on Greer. Greer's not the one coaching. Greer is responsible for Mike McDaniel. So where the front office right now, I don't have a problem with their talent evaluation. They've been the best front office we've had here since the 70s. Okay, best front office by miles. It's not even close. But they can't fail on Mike McDaniel because that's two coaches, and then that becomes a problem for them that Greer, McKenzie, and Allen then get blamed for. You guys can't find a coach. And that sucks because you put together some pretty damn good rosters here and you can't find somebody that can put it together. That's a problem. That's a problem. So that will be the one that I will say will fall on the front office. That one I will agree with you, Brad. The Vic stuff falls completely on anything coaching and what happens on the field and all that. I'm blaming McDaniel. He runs the show. So he has to deal with the old man every day. You know, maybe the old man's also a pain in the ass. Who knows? AD Dances, thank you for the love on the super chat, sir. Sick of new coaches. Bring in Harbaugh. I'm done. Paul in Connecticut. Yeah, they're not going to bring in Harbaugh. It's not going to happen. Chargers are going to get Harbaugh. Okay. Funny, Big O. Only giving a 2-year rookie head coach another year. I didn't say I'm giving him another year. I'm telling you, you will give him another year. I'm telling you what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen. If we have the same of all of this again at the end of the year, I guarantee you, dude, I've been doing this forever. I've seen this story over and over again. You all will assassinate the man by the end of next season if they're falling apart and they're making mistakes and they're not winning games they're supposed to and they piss it away and all that kind of stuff. You guys, I'm telling you, that's my prediction. Okay? I'm telling you what's going to happen. I'm not saying me. I'm saying everybody. It's going to happen. By the end of next season, nobody will tolerate 3 years of incompetence. Nobody will tolerate it. It won't happen, dude. If you have the team and you have the opportunity and you ruin it, people will not accept that, man. They just won't. They will not accept it. I'm telling you. I know what's going to happen. I've been here for a long time, doing this for over 3 decades, starting year 34. I don't even know how I'm doing year 34, to be quite honest. I don't even know how I've survived 34 years mentally with some of you all out there. So Brooklyn Rob, not bothered by Fangio. Plenty of good coordinators out there. Fangio misused Brandon Jones and would not use Ramsey to shadow the best receiver. Also, you can't tell me Apple was better than Cam Smith. That I don't know what it was with Cam Smith, but obviously the old man did not like him at all. Why is Greer untouchable? Because he's done great in the draft, free agency, and acquiring talent. Yeah, that's probably why they're gonna. There's no reason to fire him right now, at all. It's a hell of a roster. You know, the roster's there's nothing wrong with the roster. It's just, dude, had the worst luck in the world. What are you gonna do? AVG goes for a tackle and he gets injured. It has nothing to do with trainers. It's stupid crap that fans come up with. And I don't know if there's any media members that have written that silliness or talked about it that way. But, you know, it's just terrible luck the last 2 years. Most of the other years, it's not about injuries. It's about just not being good enough, period. End of story. Let's not make it sound like every year it happens to be about injuries. That's a bunch of crap. It's just the last 2 years. Yeah, dude. Snake bitten, big time. Can't argue that. But silliness that it's the trainers or anything. What the hell does that have to do with Jalen Phillips and Cam Wake? Okay. One was, some think it's the turf for Jalen Phillips or a freak injury with the Achilles. Just like the same thing that happened with Cam Wake and his Achilles. And have you ever seen Jalen Phillips and Cam Wake? Do you know how chiseled those two men are? Like, they don't even know what body fat is. Body fat runs away from Jalen Phillips and Cam Wake. That's nothing to do with trainers. Shit happens, dude. It's football. It's a terrible sport on the body. Bunch of somebody rolling up on Armstead's legs. That's not the trainers. It's bad luck. And unfortunately, with other injuries, Armstead is very injury prone. He was injury prone before he got here. It has nothing to do with our trainers. You want our trainers also to have like pixie dust or something? Some kind of magic? You know, we get silly. It's the same thing with the Greer stuff. The one thing you can definitely hold against Greer right now, if you want, is if McDaniel fails. And he hasn't failed yet. Okay? He has shown a ton of promise, but obviously he's got a lot of growing up to do in trying to figure this crap out. And this is part of the process. Let's see. Our defense is depleted. We need interior linemen, pass rushers, linebackers, and secondary help. We're in trouble. Oh, yes, it's over. You know, I saw the video posted of him kicking rocks. The only problem is I went to his Instagram page, and I can't find that video. You know? Like, somebody help me out, because I went to the Javon Holland page. So I saw that before I posted. And I looked up on his page and nothing. So I'm like, well, wait a minute. What's going on here? You know? Here we are. So I'm on his page and I can't see him in that video of kicking rocks at all. So I don't know if it was really him. And if it's there, please show me where, because I wanted to show it to you guys, but I went to his direct account, okay, on Instagram, and it's not there. I don't want to show it in second party when I don't know if it's legitimate. See what I'm saying? Because maybe he got it from somebody else that didn't really get it from Javon. So unless Javon posted it and then erased it, I don't know about that. But again, I'm not. Javon looks to me like the kind of guy that if he posted, he's going to leave it there. And if somebody sees it, tells me where it is, I'd love to show it to folks out there. It's on his story. So it's not on posts. It's reels, tags. So where's his story? I don't know. He deleted it. I saw it too from a second party, not on his. That's the thing. So I don't know where his story is or whatever the hell. Let me see. Is it better to do it by the phone? Because I have it on the PC, but I still don't see it here. Yeah, I don't see it. Sorry, guys, I don't see it. So I'm not going to attribute it to him unless you can see it. Press on his profile picture. Okay. All right. There you go. Ah, there it is. So how do I do that? Do I do it here? Do I press his profile picture here? And you guys taught me something. There we go. Aha. So that's how I activate it. Very nice. Okay. So here you go. Here's Javon Holland doing a little kick the rocks deal. I don't know if you guys are seeing it. Ooh, let me see. Here we go. And kick rocks. All right. So how about that? A little kick rocks action. Now I can attribute to him. Okay, now Javon Holland. See, now we got to do things right. Thank you for showing me on that. But we got to do things right. I didn't want to say, oh, Javon Holland did it, and then I don't see it there. You know what I mean? That part I didn't want to get involved with. You know what I'm saying? So I want to make sure that we do it right. Yeah, there's some things I don't know about social media, Drew. What do you want me to do? I'm not perfect. By the way, we are giving you $100. The no regret first bet. If you have a Hard Rock account, okay, when you go to the Hialeah website, use this QR code, and you open your Hard Rock account through Hialeah Park, because it's the Hialeah Park one, through Hard Rock, because Hard Rock picked 3 locations in Florida. The Seminoles, I'm sorry. The Seminoles picked 3 locations that weren't their locations. So I had to pick 3 different pari-mutuels. One of them was Hialeah Park. So Hialeah Park is giving you a no regret first bet. Now, when you go to that thing to open your account to get your $100, do not use the same phone number or email that you use with the Hard Rock account. Okay, use a completely different one so you can get your $100 and enjoy it. Now, the Javon Holland thing. Should you feel a little better about this? If Javon Holland is saying kick rocks, that's kind of telling me that he wasn't really happy with the old man and what he was doing. And that might be the saving grace for Mike McDaniel, that maybe it wasn't him. Maybe he wasn't a fit. Maybe players didn't like his old ass. Maybe the way they do things is completely different than the way Vic Fangio does things. I don't know. Or maybe they felt that other players on the team deserved to play and Vic Fangio didn't see it. That could be the other one too. Because sometimes the people you don't fool are the players on the team, because they see the film every week. They're on the practice field. They're in the classroom. So they see the guy that is doing what he's supposed to do or isn't doing what he's supposed to do. And you wonder about that. But Javon Holland is one of the top players on the team. And one of my favorite players, by the way. I think the world of Javon Holland. I think he's as perfect a player as you can get. Felt terrible with the injuries. The weirdest thing, two MCLs. Like, who the hell sprains 2 MCL injuries in each knee? That's some weird stuff that happened to that poor young man. But he is as exceptional human being. That's why I was a little worried about the video, because I didn't know how to activate the story, I guess. And so I kept going on. I looked for Twitter. I went to Instagram. I went to Instagram like 3 times. Well, before I went on, it actually delayed me from going on, because I was like, I can't find this. I will not attribute this to this man if I am not seeing it on his site, because that's not fair. You know what I mean? I want to be responsible. So thank you for that. But if he wasn't happy with him, what does that tell you? That's an interesting one, I got to say. Let's see. There was a secession plan. Ronaldo Hill will be the DC. That's why he left the Chargers as DC, to become an apprentice under Vic. I guarantee that would make a lot of sense. A lot of people love Ronaldo Hill, man, and he's an up-and-coming guy. So that would be a really good one. If it's not Campanelli, it definitely would be him from within. And I think, the one thing, Guerro, I can tell you that you make a lot of sense in right now, it's probably going to be a move from within. That's probably what's going to happen. It'll probably be one of those 2 guys. That would make all the sense in the world for Hill or Campanelli to be the guy. More Hill, because he kind of knows the system too, on top of all of that. So maybe you can keep some of the concepts of that, and then Ronaldo can add whatever the hell he wants to it, or if Campanelli gets a job. But because Mike's stature right now through 2 years, I would go more with an inside move than an outside move of a new coach at this point in time. And here's another one. Here's another one to back up Guerrero a little bit here too. You got a little bit of the ship getting shook right now, right? Because all of a sudden Vic Fangio leaves. Now, he might have not been liked in the building, whatever. Maybe the way he rubbed people around. I don't know. We'll soon find out. I'll soon get some of the dirt on that stuff. But the bottom line is, if you're Mike McDaniel, you want to keep things as tight as possible. So if you bring somebody else from the outside in to help fix what you want, and it doesn't work out, you also may start losing people from within. But if you promote from within, okay, Hill or Campanelli, others are going to say, okay, there's a carrot dangling here. The coach is going to reward us if we do our jobs and, we excel and all. And who knows, maybe they felt that Ronaldo Hill or Campanelli had some insight throughout the year and had some disagreements with the old man on certain things. Maybe Ronaldo Hill or Campanelli wanted to shadow. And that was a discussion that week and a couple of other weeks, and Vic said no or whatever, or chose to do it on a part-time basis. Like when he did do it, he did it only a few times. He wasn't like full-time on it. Who knows? I'm just now I'm throwing darts. Okay. I'm just throwing darts. But if you're Mike McDaniel, psychologically promoting 2 coaches who from within seem to be people that have kind of put themselves in that position to deserve those kind of opportunities. Campanelli's been a guy that people have talked about in other places, right? Ronaldo Hill's a guy that's been talked about for several years now, kind of one of those up-and-coming type dudes. So you've got 2 of those guys within your organization, within your coaching staff. You may not want to rattle the boat, because that will create more people that are disenchanted and could leave and say, you know what? I don't have a future here. The guy's not promoting me. I'm, Campanelli. I'm Ronaldo Hill. dude, I came from San Diego and or Los Angeles or whatever, and I was up. You didn't give me the job. You brought some guy from outside. Oh, I'm out of here. So then you create more problems for your coaching staff. And for you as a head coach is a headache because now you've got to replace more coaches. So psychologically, the best thing might be for Mike McDaniel at this point in time is to promote from within. And because of your unstable situation and your unstable future, because you really haven't crossed that threshold that you've proven who you are, you may not be able to get the stud coordinator that might be available outside. He may not want to come here because he may say, I don't know if you're here for a long time. That's a problem for me. So the more prudent, the more intelligent, the more psychologically better option for you is to probably hire from within. And Campanelli and Hill are the perfect candidates to get that opportunity. So there you go, Guerrero. I back you up with the Hill thing or Campanelli, because I can't say I'm going to be surprised if Campanelli gets the job. Why would you kick a rock? Because you want him to kick rocks. Get the hell out of here. That's all. Zachary says, I agree. The best solution, promote from within. I don't think you'll find anyone good from the outside that would come in here. It's a little risky, That's right. Hit that like button. And Lewis, we're always going to get the hating, bro. That's just the way it is. Don't worry. It's all good. One thing I learned about this business, and that's why I don't even worry about it. I don't worry about making everybody happy because there's no way you're going to make people happy. There's no way. You'll make half happy and then the other half will hate you. You'll make half happy and then the other half will think you're an idiot. It's just kind of the way it goes. So, Joe Barry is out as DC in Green Bay. Eddie says, I prefer the stability. I don't want the defense to have to start all over again. That's a very good point. Mike Vrabel will be up for a head coaching job. He will get a head coach. I really don't understand this, to be quite honest. Is there something we don't know about in Tennessee? Because I think Mike Vrabel is one of the best coaches in the NFL and he's young. I would be hiring him in a second. If Miami didn't have McDaniel, I would be telling you, you need to go hire Mike Vrabel, man. I'm a Vrabel fan. I like him. I think he never really had a stud quarterback over there. He never really had a Super Bowl caliber team. He had a deep playoff team because obviously they had a physical defense, they had a great offensive line and a running game, but they never had the QB that could put him over the top. He got the best out of what he had. I think he's a fantastic coach, man. Chris Greer is going to make it work somehow. I know that Greer, McKenzie, and Allen will make it work with the roster. I'm not worried at all. All these people telling you about all kinds of cap hell and all that ain't going to happen at all this year. They got plenty of flexibility. Let's see. So now we're going to have to give the defense a whole year. So the players, Corso, this is why this is another reason, my friend. And what's it called? Eddie Lepp just touched on it. This is another reason why you hire from within, because you don't want drastic change to the defense. So Ronaldo Hill knows the defense well. Campanelli knows the defense well. So you'll probably run the same kind of defense, but some concepts will change. But that's tweaking. That's nothing. So people won't really have to learn a big one and a big change one. But here's the thing. So you don't go through the big change. You don't go through the big one. Here's the other thing. If you're Mike McDaniel, you need to turn the corner as soon as possible. Do you turn the corner with as least change as possible, or do you think you're going to turn the corner with complete change that then, remember, the front office is then taxed on trying to find different talent to fit. That's why Tyndall is no good anymore, because he doesn't fit this scheme. Ogba doesn't fit this scheme. So if you add a completely different scheme, you then go backwards again because there'll be players that will not fit that scheme. And now you've got to change it. You get what I'm saying? So if you're Mike McDaniel and you're Chris Greer, you need this to work. Do you go get somebody completely different? Of course you don't, because then that makes your job as a head coach completely harder. And as a front office, you're like, oh, shit. Now here comes a new coach with a new list of groceries for me. Sorry, dude, pork doesn't work. We got to use steak here. Sorry. No, we're not into pasta anymore. No, we're going rice. And it's just, what are you going to do? Sorry, can't have that smaller edge pass rusher. He can't hold the point in my 4-3. 3-4, it's a whole different ball game. He fits there. I'm running a 4-3. I need a 6'5", 280, 300-pound guy to give me an anchor at the edge. I need a different player. Oh, shit, we don't have that. So that's why I won't expect drastic change. And that's why Guerrero is on it. And that's why I mentioned Campanelli, because that's kind of what makes sense. You know, little to no change, more continuity, more. Also, here's the other thing. Now there's already a prior connection too with the coaches. So now so the players now feel comfortable because they know how Reynaldo Hill or Campanelli coach. Okay. And again, these are two gentlemen that have kind of worked their way up the ladder to kind of be in this position. All signs point to one of those two guys. I would say there's a 95% chance that Campanelli or Hill are your defensive coordinator. Okay? Look out. Co-defensive coordinators, run defensive coordinator, pass defensive coordinator. They might do that shit. Keep everybody happy. You know? I don't know. They might do something like that. One guy has to call the game because you have to have the same person with the same kind of instincts, flow, all those kind of things. It's there's got to be continuity in that. You can't have Campanelli one week doing it and then the next week Hill doing it. No, maybe they can both help design the defense throughout the week, but one man constantly has to call the defense all year long. Has to be that way. But it will be that. I'm pretty sure of that. I would tell you that as you decipher it and look at it and where they're at right now, that's probably what makes sense, is to make a change from within and use specifically one of those two guys as your defensive coordinator. Okay. So that would be my prediction there. Okay, let's see. Oh, you making it seem like Mike McDaniel has a year or two left. Yes. I'm telling you, if he doesn't turn things around and it's the same kind of stuff you've had the first 2 years, I guarantee you, Frankie, by the end of year 3, you guys will want to fry his ass. And if he makes it to year 4, he weighs about 90 pounds. He could be down by 60. He could be down to 60 by then. He's going to look, pretty thin by then. Okay? I've seen this story before. He better change the trajectory. His trajectory now is this way, not this way. He is no longer trending like this anymore. So he has to change it. He is on a dip. As we like to say in the investment world, he's on a dip. He was on a parabolic run, and now he's gone like on a 35-40% dip. So now we need to see if somehow he can kind of start rounding it out and finding a bottom. and then start taking it back up again. But that trajectory, boom, it's gone down now. Now we're wondering, do we buy low or do we sell and get out right now as investors? Is what we're deciding. If it's Bitcoin, you're definitely doubling and tripling up right now, down that much. Oh my God, 40% would be a blessing. That would be awesome. But anyway, but in this case, it's a gamble. It's a gamble because none of us really know if he can get over the hump. See, that's why some of you say, oh, he'll figure it out. Yeah, well, plenty of examples that he didn't figure it out from year one to year two. And he blatantly lied about running. Blatantly lied. We may not have wanted to, but he basically lied with his actions. His emotions got the best of him, and he went back to some of his bad habits throughout the year. So I'm telling you, guaranteeing you, Frankie, if it continues in this trajectory, you will want his ass fired by the end of year 3. And if he survives that offseason, year 4 is going to be hell for him. Every little mistake will be magnified, and you guys will go nuts. I've seen this. I'm telling you. He better have a much, much more responsible season next year if he doesn't want to feel the heat. Let's see. Bill is coming, Big O. Yeah, there you go. This is why you don't fire Josh Boyer. Well, Big O, how does this help us in signing Wilkins? I can tell KY Finns does not listen to the show at all for the last week, right? Because he would not even ask me that question, right? Some of you just might listen to segments here and there. You really don't listen to the show, or obviously you weren't even watching the postgame show, because I even pretty much told you in the postgame show. But yep. I've already told you what's going to happen with Wilkins. Big O does no. Fangio won't get the money. They'll just part ways. He got his money for this year, and that's it. And then Vic will go get his job in Philadelphia like he wants. And he's not happy here, and he just moves on. Chris says Philly fired Sean Desai as their DC. Do we look at him? Well, I already told you what I think is going to end up happening, but we'll see. Get me Pete Carroll and fire McDaniel. This team is built to win now. Yeah, but then that would come with drastic changes offensively, defensively. That's the thing. Can't argue with the coach. Although, that was his offensive coordinator, the quarterback's coach here, that made that call, for Seattle. They should have had that second championship. Okay. Hiring from within would be the best move, says Lenny, because they are familiar with the players and know their strengths and weaknesses and can develop a scheme that best fits for everyone. Yep. Continuity, my friend. Continuity. Edward Thurston Howell, I think McDaniel is already on the hot seat and Fangio was released and is the scapegoat. I'm not going to say hot seat, but I'm going to say on the radar. Okay? Like, it's there now on the radar. And is it getting closer to that boiling point? You know what I'm saying? I can see something like that. But not yet hot seat. Not yet. By the end of the year, let's hope not, but if some of the crap that's gone on here this year and last year, yeah. Look, James Santos, I want him fired now. I have a couple of friends of mine that want McDaniel fired now. They text me all the time. I want McDaniel fired. All the time. And I'm like, no, dude, no, not yet, bro. Not yet. You got to give the man some time here. Fangio out before Crossman. The Crossman thing is that's an indictment on McDaniel. He better change. Like I started this show with. He better change Crossman. Look at it. It's an indictment. So you lose Fangio, and yet you're going to keep around Crossman? Like, you should have fired him last year. We need another pass-catching tight end to pair with Smythe, either in the draft or free agency. I agree. Green Lion, McDaniel's seat is warm. That's a good one. See, that's like on the radar. The seat is warm. That's what it is. Not a hot seat, but you're like on notice, Like, yo, dude, you better get your stuff straight because you see that seat, it's starting to warm up. We haven't turned up the heat yet, but you notice it's a little warm there. That kind of stuff. Green Lion's got it. That's about it right there. Do you think McDaniel will keep Crossman? Richard, I don't know why he's still employed. Like, I'm going to find another special teams coach. I'm not keeping this guy around because I'm trying to find the other guy. And when I find the other guy, I'll fire him. No. I'm firing Danny Crossman, and I'll go find another special teams coach. Whatever, but I will find another special teams coach. Guaranteed. If not, I'll find the best special teams coach in the NFL and hire his top assistant. At least. If I can't hire the best available special teams coach from some of these changes, then I'll find the best and take his protege. I'll do anything, but I'm not bringing back Danny Crossman. In fact, I'm going to hire Karoon. I'm going to hire Toby Marmorino. I'm going to hire Chad. I'm going to hire Joseph. See, I'm going to hire any of you over Danny Crossman. Okay? And out of all those names, the only guy I know personally is Chad. Caruso says, my local Starbucks is hiring right now. McDaniel will be fine if he's let go next year or so. McDaniel does look like a cool barista. He does look like it. Who's my choice for DC? I like Guerra's idea of Ronaldo Hill. I think that's a good idea. I won't be surprised if Campanelli gets it, but I think if you know me, I'm going to have an opinion. I'm not going to fence straddle. Ronaldo Hill would be the pick because I've heard so much about him that I'm intrigued already as it is. With Campanelli, I've heard a lot of cussing. I don't really know. I'm not exactly sure. Even though he has a reputation and all that other stuff, but Ronaldo Hill, I've heard from some people that I actually know. And so they've told me about him. And they, So I've been at the combine smoking a cigar with somebody, and they're like going off on Ronaldo Hill as a coach. I'm like, whoa, good to know. Because you always want to ask about the people that are in your organization or have been in the organization or whatever, because you want to find out about them. And Ronaldo Hill has an impeccable reputation, dude. Freaking impeccable. People swear by that guy. Chad says he will take the job. I got you. And Chad will do one hell of a job. There'll be no hanging Chads with Chad. I'm just telling you. Let's see. What do you think of Bill Belichick getting the defensive coordinator position? I think it's great if we're all high sitting somewhere in some smoke shop in California. Green Line, I don't hate McDaniel, Orlando, but I want him gone because he's not ready for prime time. He isn't ready for prime time. I can't. A moron would argue with you on that one. He hasn't proven to be ready for prime time. You are correct. And who would you hire? Mike Vrabel, right? Because, Belichick's going to Atlanta. Harbaugh's going to San Diego or Los Angeles, I'm sorry. And so then after, you got to go Vrabel, right? That would be the guy that I would imagine a lot of you would want because Belichick is going to Atlanta. And some of you may not even want. I'm not sure about Belichick. Although we already have the QB. But, man, he just doesn't know how to handle it, too. He did some crazy shit the last couple of years in New England. I don't know, man. I don't know about Belichick. I would not be the guy to take a chance on Belichick, the head coach. I would not. Did you see that Donna Ponte interviewed for the general manager job with the Chargers? Wow. Talk about filling a quota. Now, if Harbaugh, which it looks like he's going there, the Donna Ponte thing would be a total, what's that called? Just a total sham. Just, all right, we hired a woman. Because Donna Ponte is not qualified to be picking NFL talent. Okay? Sorry. That's just ridiculous. I saw that they interviewed Donna Ponte, and I'm hoping that they were just filling the interview quota. Although I really don't care about the Chargers. You know, it doesn't matter to me. Because Harbaugh, I would imagine, is going to bring in his own personnel people. He's going to be in charge of who hires, who gets hired in personnel. Now, if he's got to deal with the people already in place and you got rid of Tom Telesco, who was actually picked some decent players on that team. I think that's why the Raiders ended up scooping him up right away, because they thought he did a pretty good job overall on the personnel side. I really like, by the way, that the Raiders kept Antonio Pierce. I thought he deserved that. That was really cool for Antonio Pierce, because he looks like he actually gives a shit about the team. And he wants to win. You know, and you want that. You want coaches that have a little extra sauce in the game. You know, and Antonio Pierce bleeds those colors. So it's actually a really cool thing that they gave him the job. But Donna Ponte for the Chargers, that's some hilarious stuff, I got to tell you. Big O, what do we focus more on this offseason? Getting an elite defense or trying to get healthy elite O-line? My brother, you still got to add pieces. You're going to lose Wilkins, okay? So you're going to lose some other pieces. Ogbah's gone. X is gone. You're going to open up a crap ton of salary, okay? A whole bunch of salary you'll be able to open up when it's all said and done. You'll have an opportunity to fill those spots, but you're going to have to work on that D-line for sure. Raekwon Davis, no reason to bring him back unless he wants to come back on some kind of minimum or something like that and be a backup. You need to find yourself a two defensive tackles to join Sealer. And you're probably going to have to take a chance on some kind of a veteran pass rusher, somebody that's kind of been down on their luck the last year or two, or coming back from an injury or something that they can't ask for a ton of money while you wait for Phillips and Chubb to come back, because you're really not going to make a long-term investment on somebody young and give them all kinds of money when you've got money already dedicated to Chubb, and eventually you're going to have to pay, Jalen Phillips 2 years from now, probably, because that's what's going to happen. He probably comes back and then you tag him for the following year, and then and it's probably a transition tag and everything. And then the following year after that, that's when you say, okay, now we could give you the big boy money because you're producing and all that. So you're going to have to make moves, my brother, on the D-line and maybe even the O-line for sure. You're going to have to solve that issue with your first and second round picks, and you're going to have to solve that issue also in free agency. Remember, the one thing that I keep telling you that I think they need desperately is a playmaking tight end. So I don't know if you do it in free agency or you do it in that second round, because the first round, you can forget about it. Brock Bowers is gone by the time you pick at 21, and there is no other first round tight end. At least I don't think, unless there's a junior coming out that I overlooked that hasn't declared yet, and that he could be a first round pick. But I'm off the top of my head right now, I'm not even thinking that right now. So I'm not even prepared for that to even think about that. But from what I saw initially, there's only one first round pick at tight end, and that's Bowers. At 21, you're not taking a tight end. So that'll be a D lineman or O lineman, or maybe even a linebacker. Who knows? That could be the case. And this is one of those years where you better find yourself another jewel undrafted. You're going to need that. Josh Moser from Channel 7 just posted a video of Drew saying a lot of players did not get along with Fangio. Yeah, it obviously it looks like it was a bad fit. So I could see where people didn't get along with the old man. Orlando, is Fangio leaving the call you received a few months ago? No, but I already talked about that. I already gave it away. You just got to go search for it. You know, it's we talk throughout the show. We will drop some nuggets and some information. All of it is not found on interviews. So those of you that just listen to us for just interviews, and those are the only segments you hear, you end up missing out on a bunch of stuff that we talk about. You know, but I randomly put it in throughout the general talk stuff. It's not always going to be inside the interview segments, you know, but I get it. Some of you out there, you know, you just want to make it quick and you just want to listen to just me and Cam talk and then leave or whatever it is. And that's enough for you. And that's cool. And we appreciate it either way. Rosendo says, good afternoon, Big O Nation. Isn't it ironic that the last time I spoke to you, Big O, you agreed that our defense was improving with Fangio and this happened? What's next? We'll see. Like you're going to have to rewind. I already talked about what's next. I've already gone over everything pretty much. It's all there. Alfredo says only serious candidates: James Beckter, Anthony Campanelli, Chris Richards, Brandon Staley, Sean Desai. Alf, I've already talked about this. I think they're going to do it from within. I think that's what's best right now is from within. So I think it'll be Hill or Campanelli that'll get the job. I don't think it'll be somebody from the outside that brings a lot of change because it puts too much burden on everything else. Front office, players, all that kind of stuff. Big O, if Bowers falls, no, he's not falling. Not falling, bro. He's not falling. Enough already. He's not falling. Unless he, you know, grabs a crack pipe or something. You know what I'm saying? It can't be a bong anymore, right? It can't be about weed anymore. That's legal in some states. They could catch you with a mask and who cares? The guy's in his off time. He can do whatever the hell he wants. So, William Shatner for DC. Ever see him and fight a Zorn? Well, listen, William Shatner can do anything he wants, okay? The man that sleeps with blue women, we're talking about a badass of all badasses. I mean, you know, you can get sexually aroused when she's green? Really? You're sleeping with this purple chick with 3 eyes? You know, I got to tell you, that's impressive by Captain Kirk. You know, most of us would not get aroused with those kind of women. That's a true leader right there under all kinds of pressure. Captain Kirk. He makes it happen. Tony says, I got my medical marijuana card. There you go. This is great information. I was going to say gas mask, but you beat me to it. Tua needs competition in the QB room to get better. So Jeremy Whelan, you know what? I've heard that dumb statement before. Frankie, are you there? Anyway, just to entertain and to have fun. Okay. Who's coming in for competition? Who are you signing? Who are you signing, Jeremy? I want to hear this answer. Who are you realistically signing to come here and you think they're going to sign here and they're going to be competition for Tua? Who is it? Really, I want to see your answer, Jeremy. Okay, because I want to see how you follow up with a stupid-ass question, and I want to see how dumb your answer is going to be on the follow-up. So I'm waiting, Jeremy. Jeremy's calling. Yeah. Come on. Who are you signing, Jeremy? Who are you signing that's competition? Cap and everything. Who are you signing, Jeremy? Come on, I want to know who you're signing, Jeremy. I don't see an answer, bro. I mean, there's a lot of text coming in between your last text and now, and I don't see anything. I want to see what answer that actually makes sense, because the question doesn't make sense. It's plain stupidity, because there's nobody you can bring in because they're not going to be competition for Tua. And anybody that you think might be competition, they can go start for their own team. So I'm just wondering who it is, because I don't see who it is. Who is it? It ain't Kirk Cousins, because he can play on his own team. And Kirk Cousins doesn't win any big games. He's been at it for over 10 years now. So that's like they pick on Tua, and yet Kirk Cousins is like the worst at it. Him and Dak Prescott have already like proven it over and over, which again, anybody that mentions Kirk Cousins, you're stupid, because he's going to sign a $40 million deal. You think you can bring a $40 million quarterback to compete against another $40 million quarterback under the cap? So where is Jeremy? I don't see Jeremy. Jeremy Wieland. I don't see you, my brother. What is it? Depends on who available is not an answer. That's a coward answer. You couldn't even come up, because now you thought about it. Wow. Yeah, you really can't bring in another franchise quarterback. So who are you going to bring in that's going to compete with him? So who is it? I don't know, Jeremy. I don't see it. Depends on who available is not an answer, bro. That means you're not prepared. You know what I'm saying? You can't throw shit out there, and then this is why you can't do this job. This is why most fans, 99.9% of you, can't do this job, because you say shit and then you don't have anything to back it up, and you don't think about the repercussions of it, because there's nobody you can bring in. Just doesn't make sense at all. And bringing in somebody that's the best quarterback we've had since Marino is kind of stupid. You know? Big O, we need to let Wilkins walk. All great teams lose players. He's already gone, bro. I already told you he's gone. Told you he's gone for a while. He priced himself out last year, and they didn't pay him, and now he's going to want even more, and they're not going to pay him. He didn't show up in all the big games, only one time with the Bills. His 8 sacks came against all the bad teams. Okay? All of them. He didn't show up in any of the other ones. He did make that one play against Josh Allen, who somehow motivates him, because he loves to play against Josh Allen. He also loves to grab Josh Allen's crotch. So the reality is they're not paying him. They weren't paying him last year what he wanted. He's going to ask for more money this year, and they're not going to pay him more than what they offered him last year. So I'm just telling you. Anyway, Browning, Minshew, Dobbs are all out there to bring. That's not, Frankie, that's not competition. That's ridiculous, bro. That's stupid. That's competition for Skyler. That's competition for Mike White to be the backup. Those guys, I love Minshew, but he's a great backup. If Minshew is starting for your team, you're not good enough. You never will be good enough. I love Minshew to keep your team afloat for a couple of weeks. But if you watch Minshew week in and week out, which you really don't, he's not really that much of a difference maker. What Minshew is a guy that manages the game and doesn't turn the ball over. That's the beauty of Gardner Minshew. He'll make a couple plays for you, but everybody else has got to be in sync overall. That's just the way it is. And those other guys, give me a break, dude. Browning and Dobbs, Joshua Dobbs sucks, bro. He's horrible. He's just an athlete. He got on a little roll for a couple of weeks, and then that's it. He became the pumpkin once again. He became a frog. That guy wasn't going to stay a Prince ever. Honest question: is there any concern if Tua suffers another concussion? He never contemplated retirement. Okay. Again, any media member that tells you that, they're wrong. Anybody that repeats that, they're misinformed. What Tua said was that conversation was had with his family. That's because, again, Coor, let me explain something to a lot of you out there. You don't know Tua. You still haven't figured this guy out whatsoever. Does the guy that came back from a hip injury, the guy that F's up his two ankles and then tells them, no, let's put a titanium rod on it, so I'm sure it won't happen again and I can stay on the field and play. This is not a normal human being. He's normal off the field. On the field, your problem is you keep looking at his size. You keep thinking that he's not a tough guy. And he was never retiring. Listen to me. Never. Did he ever contemplate it? Never. You know what he did? He entertained his family. And are you married? Do you have people that love you? What happens? For anything. Oh my love, don't go out there. It's raining. You're going to get sick. You know, that's what family does. They're worried about you. So I'm sure some of the family members were worried. And I'm sure his dad said, screw them. Let's go. You know what you have to do. And so, as I said last year, in the middle of all of this shit, okay, it had nothing to do with him being concussion prone. That's stupid shit you people come up with. That's stupid shit that the media comes up with. The media that needs to be sensationalistic, because that's the only way they're going to get views. I don't do this shit for views. I don't do this shit to try to be sensationalistic. And as you, Coor, don't understand, okay, as I said last year, he wasn't concussion prone. All he has to do is learn how to get rid of the football, and he'll live, because Marino wasn't holding it for 4 and 5 seconds. And neither was Montana, and neither is Greasy, and neither is Breeze, and neither is Peyton Manning. They made a quick decision. That's why they lived forever. And Tua can do the same thing. Now, if he wants to go back to being stupid, okay, and hold the ball for 4 or 5 seconds, then you will die. That's all. And if you want to go put your shoulder into people, then you will die. And it'll be over for you. And they'll break your ass in half, and you'll be out of the league. But he wasn't ever concussion prone. Again, Coor, you don't watch this show often. We timed it all out 3 years ago. Because 2 years ago, we told you. All his injuries came at 3.85 seconds to 5.1 seconds. The 2 ankles, the 2 concussions, okay, and the hip all happen between 3.85 and 5.1 seconds. You can go time it yourself. Go back and find all those injuries. Time them. I did it all. And it's simple math. He was playing hero ball, hanging on to the football. So he's not concussion prone. That's bullshit that you guys invent. That's sensationalistic shit that you invent and create drama where there isn't any drama. Nothing's wrong with Tua. He can throw the ball deep, but you want to make it up. Nothing's wrong with Tua. He does work hard, but you think he plays too much golf. Nothing's wrong with Tua. You think he's too short, but he's not. But again, these are the narratives. These are the silly narratives that continue to be created because most of you are misinformed. And by the way, you read and watch and listen to misinformed people. So, as I said last year, which Coor, of course, you weren't watching, when we had all these people freaking out in the media, oh, Tua should quit. None of them ever tell a fireman that they should quit. None of them ever tell cops that they should never be cops, because would you be a cop? God bless them. There's no way in hell I would be a cop. You can't pay me enough money to be a cop. Does anybody tell them anything? Because their lives are on the line every day. No, right? Nobody ever tells a miner that's breathing all kinds of shit and mostly dies before they're 50, you should quit that. Nobody ever tells anybody walking FPL towers and crap, oh man, you should quit that. You can get electrocuted and die. You shouldn't be a lifeguard. You could drown trying to save somebody. I don't know if you guys saw in California when they got hit by those waves, there was a lifeguard that had to be saved because the guy was drowning trying to save somebody else. And with a tsunami that hit over there. Nobody ever tells those people, no, don't join the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine. Forget it. It's not an adventure. You got your life on the line. You could end up in war. You could end up with, what is it, the PSTT or whatever it's called? Post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, whatever, right? Nobody ever tells them that. No, but Tua should quit football. Morons. No, don't get behind the race car. You're going 200 miles an hour. You could die. Nobody ever gives a shit about that. No, but all of a sudden they wanted Tua to quit because, no, he suffered a couple concussions. That's it. His career is over. Meanwhile, Sidney Crosby has had like 9 or 10 concussions. Talk to him when he's in the Hall of Fame. Talk to him when he's done playing, and then they wait a couple years and they induct him. Hey, why, Sidney, why didn't you quit years ago? Some of you people have the gall that it's like, it's amazing to me. Like you want to control somebody else's life. Oh, you got to quit. No, he's a concussion away. He's concussion prone. No, you're dumb. He's not concussion prone. You just don't watch the game. You don't really understand. And by the way, tons of people put their lives on the line for a hell of a lot less money than Tua Tagovailoa is doing. And you guys don't care at all about a ton of people that are putting their lives on the line in regular jobs at all. I just saw a really interesting video on crystals and diamonds and these miners where they go and they got to go into these active volcanoes and mountains, and because these crystals are being formed off of volcanoes, but yet they're breathing all that sulfuric acid and all that other crap that comes out of the ground and all that. And most of them don't live past 40 and stuff. None of you give a crap. And you're going to have that little purple crystal in your house or pink or whatever, your mom, your grandmother. And you like don't know the miner that went through hell getting paid, by the way, I believe it's like $12 or $14, $18 a day to, for that nice little crystal you have in your house. And you didn't give a crap about the miner that had to breathe all kinds of crap and put his lungs into hell that he'll never recover and he'll never have a full life because he has to survive and feed his family. None of you give a shit about that. But all of a sudden, we all care about Tua so much. Let's bring on every doctor, every expert. It's a bunch of crap, dude. It just is a bunch of crap. It really is. I've never seen anybody more unfairly treated and used in a way like I've never seen than Tua. Nobody. He's the only guy I see that people just make shit up And when people are all going through the same things, no, it's different for him than anybody else. True Fin fan, thank you for the love in the super chat, sir. Honestly, happy Fangio is gone. Never like you. You know what, True Fin fan? You are not a phony. Okay, because you're constantly on the show, sending in super chats. You go to our live events all the time. You're a monster supporter of our show. And you're so much of a monster supporter that I've heard you say that many times before throughout the season. So, it's not like, a lot of people, I don't know if they really didn't like Fangio or not. So they could be BSing me at this point, but I know you are not, because you've told me even personally you didn't like Fangio when we were at walk-ons. So I remember. So, yeah. Some of you weren't happy with Fangio. I remember that. How some of you even got to the point that you wanted Josh Boyer back. You were happy more with Josh Boyer. Like Lamar. Like, he didn't blitz Lamar, dude. And that's what you've got to do. You got to get after his ass. Is he going to fake you out and run on you sometimes? Yeah, man, you're going to give up some plays. But if you let him sit back there and just play that sandlot football that they play, you're done. Their receivers are too quick. You can't stay with receivers 4 or 5 seconds. You need to get after his ass. That's one thing that I was disappointed. Not just the Tennessee game, but he didn't get after Lamar. Like, Josh Boyer brought it. And he didn't have a secondary, but he didn't give a shit. He wasn't going to allow Lamar to just sit there. And yeah, you gave up one big run, but you ended up winning the game. They shut him down in that second half. It was beautiful. But at least Josh Boyer did something, which I just didn't think that Fangio went after him enough. Joseph Viveros, thank you, sir, for the love on the super chat. Very nice of you. Big O Ron Rivera or Jack Del Rio for defensive coordinator. Like I told you, too extreme. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think they'll go too crazy on changing from the outside. Okay. I think that they'll stay from within. That's my prediction. That's what I think. Josh Boyer stopped Lamar twice. Yeah, because he blitzed the shit out of him. Yeah. I don't have a problem with that. It's kind of a live or die thing, but I'd rather do that than just give him time back there. You know what I mean? He's not a great passer. Don't give him time to think. Make him make quick decisions. You do that, you will force him into all kinds of mistakes. Let's see. Eduardo Blasco. Thank you for the love in the super chat, Eddie. Big O, I'll never forget Mike Westhoff saying in the Joe Rose show when he first saw Mike McDaniel's practice, he said it was the most disorganized practice he had ever seen. Yeah. Yep, I remember that. But they went on to win the 9 games. They would have won more if Tua stayed healthy. This year he stayed healthy, and they won more, and they won 11. But he's right about it is unorganized and undisciplined. To me, that's what I really am bothered more by Mike McDaniel. His loosey-goosey ways has created an undisciplined team. So that's the sad part about it. Big O doing 2-a-days. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And thank you all out there. Remember, Cash App or Venmo, Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo. By the way, I do want to remind you, we are going to have a shooting competition. Yes, next Wednesday. Okay. And I think maybe I'll formalize everything or finalize everything tonight. But we're also going to have a trophy. So if you think you're a good shot, Top Gun Indoor Range, it's at 12015 Southwest 114th Place. All right. There's the phone number. They got memberships. They got all kinds of stuff. They've got classes, self-defense classes for the ladies, English and Spanish. But we're going to have a shooting competition. And wait a minute. So we're going to have a shooting competition. And by the way, we'll be giving away these shirts. Had to wear one to show it to you. We'll be giving away a big old shirt to everybody that participates. We'll have these kind of targets, AI driven and scoring. So it's actually pretty cool and modern as it is. So we'll have some fun with that. And the winner will take home the grand prize. And I'm hoping that I can even put together a trophy also for the winner. So that'll be cool. And then we're going to do a shooting competition. I'm hoping that we can do this every quarter. We need a big turnout for this one. Let's have a big turnout. Come on out. And if you guys want to at least watch or something, have some fun, 12015 Southwest 114 Place next Wednesday, the 31st at 7 o'clock. All right. And we're going to have prizes there, all kinds of prizes and giveaways. So we'll have a little fun there at Top Gun Indoor Range. So check it out. Save that phone number. I'll see you on Wednesday, a week from today at 7 o'clock at Top Gun Indoor Range. All right. And don't forget, folks, to use our code BIGO10 at Caneswear so you can get 10% off. All right. Caneswear. Caneswear.com or personally when you go to the store at 2655 South University Drive in Davie. Boyer blitzed more than anyone in the NFL and got 40 sacks. And this year we were third with 56 this year and blitzed the least. You guys are high. No, Lofi, you're not listening. You're not paying attention. Nobody said to go blitz happy in every game. I said I like what Boyer did against Lamar over what Fangio did. That's it. You're not paying attention. No one talked about, oh, you got to do it for 17 games. All we said was, in that specific moment against Lamar, I like how Boyer handled it more than how Fangio handled it. That's it. I would have mixed it up a hell of a lot more, and I would have come after Lamar. I would have not let him get comfortable back there and hang around and, get 4 seconds back there. And there's no way you're staying with those receivers for 4 seconds. It's hard to stay with NFL receivers. So you're not listening. Nobody said to do that in every game. We're just talking about that specific situation and how he did it 2 years straight where he went after Lamar and it was successful. And why didn't Fangio look at that tape and say, well, this worked against this guy and he's dangerous, but it worked. Hey, maybe I should try some of this. And he didn't. So there you go. Big O, I think Fangio did a good job, but he did not meet expectations. We were paying him too much to be okay. Right. You're right. Right. I don't have a problem with saying he did a good job. Yeah. I don't have a problem. Now, in some moments, it wasn't a good job, like the Baltimore game, like Tennessee with 3 minutes left. You cannot lose that game. I'm moving with Essential Moving next week. There you go. There you go, Green Lion. Thank you for calling Sean Williams and the boys at Essential Moving Experts. They are great people, man. They really know how to get it done, man. Good people. The Dolphins should practice in Antarctica. Maybe we'll have a chance. That's good. Big O, thank you for making another show after this Fangio news. Best in the biz. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you for coming back and supporting us. And thank you all out there. We'll try to keep you level-headed through all the craziness. And see, the problem is nowadays, folks, and I know a lot of these people. I've dealt with a lot of these people. It's sad because they've got to find some kind of dramatic hook or create one, even if it's not there, but try to create the doubt or whatever to hook you in. And it's just a bunch of crap, man. And I just find that to be unfair to the fan, that you start throwing stuff out there because you want to be sensationalistic and get extra hits when it's just not the reality. And I just think that they do that too much to you guys. And it's just not right. But they've got a job to do. And it's the bosses above them are forcing them to be this way. So here, it's just me and Sean, man. We don't care about any of that stuff, you know. So we just tell you like it is, and then you can go ahead and make your own decisions. And that's it. All right. We thank Sean Stanley, the great Sean Stanley, who masters this entire platform every single day. We thank all of you out there. If you tuned in throughout, thank you. If you visit our incredible sponsors like Caneswear, EJD Construction, any of our great sponsors, Hialeah Park, open up, get that free $100 at Hialeah Park. Go to the Hialeah Park website. Remember, if you have a Hard Rock account already, don't use the same phone number or email when you go to the Hialeah Park one. You can rewind and use our QR code when you see the billboard there, and that'll get you in and get you a free $100, man. So appreciate all of you out there. Remember, we're on tomorrow afternoon at 3. That's why it was breaking news, but I'm not on till 3 o'clock. So that's a long time for this kind of news. So I figured we would have to do something right away and address all this stuff out there. Appreciate all of you out there. You have a fantastic night. Be safe. I love you all as always. Remember, you can support the show through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show, and you can make that Bitcoin donation as always. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock at Hialeah Park.